Here, conversations breathe. Here, honesty feels safe. Here, women speak and everyone listens. Because in this space, every thought is welcomed, every feeling is understood, and every experience carries weight. It's where quiet strength becomes loud, where transparency becomes power, and where the truth is never too much. This is her moment. This is her voice. This is Conversations with Her.
Good afternoon, South Africa. Good afternoon, Africa. And we are approach a very interesting weekend for us because on Sunday, it is Mother's Day. That's the reason why Conversations with Her today, it talks all about motherhood. And I have with me here in the studio, Nkulie. Good afternoon to you, Nkulie.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Masha.
All the way from Cape Town, now becoming a Joburger,
Yes.
little by little.
Yes.
But why Nkulie will share her experiences? Because, believe me, she became a mother even before having her own children. Nkulie, let us talk about those old days, because you're going to how many years married now?
1998 to now, how many years now? Almost 30, eh?
Yeah.
So we're getting to 30. So this year is 28.
28.
Yes.
Congratulations. And you automatically became a mother
Yes, when I met my husband.
on your wedding day.
Yes.
Even before.
Even before.
How that come? Can you tell us, can you share with them your story?
So, just briefly, how I met my husband was through a friend. Okay, so she was a mutual friend to both of us, and she would talk about my husband to me, and she would talk about me to my husband, and with that we fell in love with each other without even seeing each other. So all the character qualities that she used to tell me about my husband and telling my husband about me, we liked each other before we could even meet each other. And then after that, we found a time to, get introduced. And so that's how we got to meet each other.
And you met in the church?
No, I was not in the church.
Oh my gosh,
I was
didn't know
not in
that
the
piece.
church. No, I was not in the church. He invited me.
Tell me all the gossip, because I
Yeah.
didn't know that part.
So he had started in the church. He was a member of the church. Obviously not converted yet. The fact that he was able to, start something with me, not being in the church. But when he met me, I was very sick. I was asthmatic, as you know, when I came to Cape Town. Now, he used to tell me how he got healed with a sickness that he had, that when it got him, he wouldn't be able to even walk. And when he came to the church, he overcame that sickness. So that's how he brought me to the church. So then we started to come together.
So
to the
you
church.
guys met out of the church?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
We met out of the church. He brought me to the church. I came to the church because of him.
But were you already dating?
When I came, yes, we were already dating. We dated before coming to the church. So that's how I could, really get to know him. And, as we were speaking, I trusted him because I don't think I would have been able to come to the Universal Church if it was not because of that. Because I knew of the Universal Church in Queenstown, even before coming to Cape Town. However, it was a kind of a church that we were, we're really scared of
Skeptical
it.
in
We
all
were
days.
skeptical because of the things that we used to hear, So because he was already here and I got to know him and I got to know the person that he was, then I trusted that he could not be taking me to a wrong place. And that's how I came to the church, through him.
Then you guys were dating.
Yes.
But you knew that then your boyfriend,
Yeah.
he had kids from previous relationships.
And Mrs. Masha, the trick with the dating outside of the church, that's why, I really love our church because there's a lot of teaching. There are things that out there we didn't get. So sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation that you were probably not going to go into it should you have known. Ne? The things that happened around our relationship, my husband and I, many of the things we discovered when we were already liking each other, Not really dating, but I mean, when I discovered that, he has these 2 kids, inside of me, I liked him already. There was no one who was going to tell me that, no, you can't be with him because of these 2 kids that, that he has. So then I got to find out that he has 2 kids, 2 different mothers, ne? And the mother of the younger child was in the church, together. And I believe she is the one who brought him to the church.
What a complicated situation.
Complicated situation. But when I met him, they were already separated. They were no longer a couple.
Even though they were attending the church?
Yeah, but they were no longer together. No, they were not. So when I met him, he was not together with her. Okay?
So they had a child.
They had a child. And the child was already grown. I think probably maybe around 10ish, but I mean she was still young. And the approach I had to that situation was for me to look at my own life, where I was coming from, because I'm a child of a single mother. And I know the difficulties and the challenges that I had growing up without a father. My situation was even better in a sense that in our Black community, you have your grandmother, you have your grandfather who become your parents, basically. So I didn't get to feel much of that gap, but whenever, friends and cousins would be talking about, the family dynamic of a mom and a dad being there, I didn't have that. I remember there was a point where I was in hospital at some point and I was sleeping there, I don't know, for like maybe a week or 2 or something. And I remember finding myself lying to the other kids there whenever they would talk about my mom, my dad is going to do this. And I didn't have that. I just had a mom. I didn't have a dad, So I knew those challenges. So coming into this, I had that in mind. And my idea was that I know the challenges of those kinds of relationships. Yeah. They don't go well. They do not. And I came, clear in my mind that I wanted to change that. And I didn't want my kids, my husband's kids, to lose out on the relationship with their father. So I was very clear about that in my mind. So that's how I came into it.
Of your own
my own experience.
Up.
Yes.
You're going.
Yes.
It's like me. I promised myself because I'm also a daughter of a single mother.
Yeah.
I would see my father once a month.
Yeah.
But he was never present.
Yeah.
And I would compare myself to the other kids.
Yes.
And I didn't have what they had.
Yeah.
In those days, it was quite serious because the pattern was to have father and mother, families, and I didn't have. So I promised myself, I'm not going to become a single mother.
Yeah.
Because of all the pain that I had growing up, the comparison, craving for a father figure, craving for attention, and I didn't have that. You made the same promise.
Yeah, I did. I made that same promise to myself. First of all, I would never, have children when I'm not married. That was one of the things I said to myself, because I know how that feels like. It's not nice because, in some of the cultures, it's a bit different. But in the Black community, specifically in South Africa, what I've seen growing up, even in my own family, is men who would make children, lots of children out there, but they're not really there for those children, So you find that the children that are taken care of are those that are within the marriage.
Last week we did a program about tell me you are African without telling me you are African.
Yeah.
And one of the topics that came up were exactly the fact that irrespective if you have a family structure, a husband, you are only considered a woman if you have kids.
Yeah.
And our question mark was, is it worth it? Because are kids growing up without father figure, mother figure, family is structured that brings some kind of stability to the development of that child.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, when you heard he had 2 kids, if it was not by the fact that you already liked him, that would be out of your cards completely.
It would probably be. It would probably be because I never wanted that situation, because I was, as a child, in the receiving end of it. Your dad disappears, you know. I normally tell people that even if I were to pass my father on the streets, I wouldn't be able to point him and say, here's my dad. At least your dad was there maybe once a month, you know. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. And I grew up with, I wouldn't say hatred, you know, but I grew up with that thing inside of me. It was painful.
It's a burden.
It's a burden. It's not a nice thing. And I got to overcome those kind of things when I came to the church, because then I got to understand that no one in his right mind would abandon their child. There has to be something behind that, you know, something that's outside of their control. And also, again, going back to our culture, in our culture, that's a normal thing, you know. They don't know what affection is, you know, calling my child and telling them I love them, how are you, nothing like that. And to them, it's life as usual.
And we hope to change that in this Mother's Day.
And we have to change it, because it does something to you as a child. Because I do remember instances where you feel like something is not complete about you, you know. You always almost look down at yourself, you know, compared to your other cousins, because I grew up in a household with a lot of cousins, so I wasn't alone. But you do feel alone, you know. I remember myself craving that thing of having my own brother, my own sister, and I didn't have that, you know.
So when you came to the reality that he had 2 daughters from previous relationships, what came to your mind? It was, I cannot separate them.
No,
I cannot stop having the father to be present in their life.
Yes.
But that doesn't come easy.
No, Mrs. Masha, it doesn't. Because you are a human being, ne? And you love this person. And imagine...
You're starting marriage.
Yes.
Because you got married in the church.
Yes, I did. We got when I came to the church, we dated, and eventually we got married in the church. And the mother of the young daughter was in the church with us, and there were people around us. But I was very, very intentional about what I was doing. First of all, the norm is that you're gonna be enemies with that lady. That's the first part.
This is a problem that we see in our churches and out of the church.
Yeah.
It's like a competition. Because you got married now, we need to prioritize our life.
Yeah.
And sometimes those kids, out of revulsion, they have bad behavior.
Yes.
And there is that big gap, division in the relationship.
Yeah. It's very tricky. I think you really need to work on yourself, because there is jealousy in human beings. You know, you are married to this person. He had a relationship in the past with this other person. Do I allow a situation where we are close together? Could that spark something in my husband with this lady again? So I do understand people, and I do understand the reactions that they have, because many emotions and things go through their minds. But for me, I knew that I wasn't going to do it like that. It was not easy for me to do it. But the first thing that I needed to make sure it happens is that there was harmony between us as the adults, and I had to be intentional about making sure that that relationship works. Okay, so it's not always easy to make it work, because sometimes people, they've got their own moods and attitudes, but I was always making sure that I was intentional about making sure that we have to have a good relationship. And I was very clear to them, even to my daughters, and I used to tell them, whatever it is that I am doing, I am not doing it for me to benefit, because this is not the case here, especially after I had kids. But I was very clear that it's not about me wanting to take you away from your mothers to me, but it's wanting to make sure that you have a relationship with your dad. So us working together and partnering together and living in harmony together was very critical. I mean, Miss Masha, things that I did, many people out there would not be able to do them.
Share with them, because we might have moms, they're struggling in that. It's very common today. We have in church blended families. And we need to understand that not only the kids, but those kids have got mothers and fathers. So as you interact, as someone coming to a new family, as you interact with those kids, you have to end up interacting indirectly with the other part.
Yes.
Be the mother, be the father.
Yes.
And there is the problem.
Yeah.
So how did you, in practical terms, manage to bond with these girls? Because, of course, they were jealous of the father, I guess.
Well, maybe not showing it to me. That's why I'm saying most of the time, I think the way we react to those situations as the current wives is probably what sparks those kinds of jealousies. I think in my case, I didn't experience that, because they always knew that they were welcome there. That's their home. If they wanted to stay there, for example, both of my stepdaughters, they stayed with us. And it was perfectly fine for me. At that time, I was even working for a big, oil company in South Africa. And I even arranged for my eldest one to get a bursary there, because they were giving out bursaries for, our children. And I didn't have kids yet of my own. But I arranged for her to get that, because to me, she was my daughter.
That's why I said she became a mother in the day of her wedding day.
Yeah. Yes. So I would...
And they stayed with you.
They stayed with me. And when they went back to their parents, for example, the one that was stationed in Cape Town with her mom, every morning, Mrs. Masha, I would wake up when I'm taking the kids to school. I would wake up and I would pass in the location where they were staying in Langa and Cape Town, and I would pick her up and I would take her to school myself. And I will collect her from school and I will take her back home. So when we go to church, so we go all together to church, and then after church going back home, there is no way I'm going to let my stepdaughter and her mother to go and take the train or to go and take public transport when we have a car. So we all go together in the car and we take them back home. And those trips back home, they were not like your normal trips just straight home. We would stop somewhere and we would get something maybe to eat together.
Because I know you had a tradition after the Sunday morning service, breakfast with the family.
We love those things, and we never stopped. I mean, even after service, when we go back home, we will stop. That's our thing. That's our bonding thing. We like to do that. So we will do that together with them. I remember a cousin of mine, she visited us in Cape Town. And then on that day, I had invited them to come over. And she said to me, Nkulie, no, this is not healthy. In her mind, you can't do that. You can't bring someone who's your husband's ex to your house. It cannot happen. People could not understand it, but for me, I knew what I was doing. My focus was those kids. Those kids, they needed to have a relationship with their dad, and it worked well.
Let's talk about entering a new family, because it's not something that happens overnight. It's a process. And whether you are coming in as a mother or a daughter, it can feel uncomfortable at first. And that's completely normal. Now, as a mother, you are not just building a relationship with your partner, you are stepping into a space where routines, emotions, and bonds already existed. So instead of trying to force your way in, just lead with patience. Remember, you are not there to replace anyone. You are there to add something new. And then, as a daughter, it can feel like your whole world is shifting. New people, new energy, new dynamics. It's a lot. And honestly, it's okay if you don't adjust immediately. So, for both sides, it really comes down to this. Just take your time. Try to listen. Try to understand each other. And be honest about how you feel. Even if it's just a bit uncomfortable, you don't have to get it right straight away. Relationships grow over time. At the end of the day, for both mothers and daughters, one thing matters most: grace. Give it to yourself and give it to each other. Because a blended family isn't about perfection, it's about learning how to grow together.
How long until you have one of your own?
Ooh, we got married in 98, and then I had Rachel in 2000. It was quite some time. It was quite some time that Utruzi Whitney was my child, because the other one, for the most part, she was in the Eastern Cape in PE. But I mean, it was quite some time. And when my husband and I are going out, we were going out with her. She was always with us. In the church, many people, they thought she was my daughter. Do you know that in the service?
Yeah, I always thought in the beginning.
In the service, she would sit with me, not with her mom. She would sit with me. So that's how comfortable it became. I think as people of God, Mrs. Masha, we have to change the way we do things. We have to think of the children, because they didn't ask to be brought in this world. And so the things that we do, we have to make sure that somehow we accommodate them. We make sure that they have, good relationships around them that are going to nurture them to become good people at the end of the day in the society. Because when you miss out on things like that, I know with me, it takes something out of you. I had so many, insecurities and things in me before knowing God. And I think most of them are stemming from that situation that I grew up in, So if we have a way of helping to avoid those kind of things, we have to do it. It's not going to take anything out of us if you become the bigger person that makes sure that you are the peacemaker, that you are the homemaker. Do it. It's only going to benefit you.
Am I wrong to say?
Yeah.
Because, of course, you will have to deal with different characters.
Yeah.
Sometimes the other party will even end up using the child to have access to the life of the ex.
Yeah.
But would you say that the one who is getting into this marriage, like you were, would play the most important role to bring unity?
You would. It's in your hands, basically. Because if I was that woman that would have said to my husband, baby, I don't think we should be close to these people. I don't think we should bring them, in our house.
Terms and conditions for this marriage.
If I would have done that, my husband's hands would have been tied in a way, and I love him because my husband loves his children. And that is one of the key things that I want to point out, because he loves his kids. And when I saw that, if I were to do something different, I would not only be hurting the mother or the daughter. I would be hurting my husband as well. And I couldn't do that to him. So I had to make sure that I do the right thing. The other important element that I think we're missing out on is the husband himself. Yeah. My husband, what I liked about him, he was very good in setting those ground rules for the family.
Let us talk about ground rules, because a relationship or a family dynamic coming from this 2 kids. Then you had 2 kids of your own.
Yes.
And these kids had mothers. If you don't set those ground rules, it is most probable that it will not work.
It won't. It will definitely not work. So my husband was very clear to say, here in this household, this is how things are done. Ne? I do know that you're staying with your mothers, and maybe there you have a certain way of doing things, but here in this household, this is how we do things. And number one from those rules was that here, the first people here is the king and the queen. And the king and the queen is me and my husband, So we are the first ones here. We come first after God to each other. And then it's all of you. Not Junior and Rachel and then the others. No. All of you are the same. So that's how we are going to treat this dynamic here. And Umama here is my wife. And she is going to be respected. She is going to be treated in this manner, and that manner, and that manner. So he was very clear about that. And I think if as a husband you have that kind of a situation and you don't set those kind of rules, and then you allow the kids to manipulate you against your wife, that is what adds to why these situations are not working, So my husband was very clear about that. So they knew they could not go to my husband and say something about me. They cannot come to me and say something about my husband. It doesn't work like that. We are always on the same side. So if my husband said no, if you come to me, it's going to be no. Even if sometimes I think, he could have, allowed that. But if he said no, it's a no. And that's how we keep it.
He would not take his authority in front of the kids.
No.
He would not take your authority in front of the kids.
Never.
Nkulie, tell us a little bit how to be a mother to the elder ones.
Yes.
Without taking the place of their mother.
It's very tricky, Mrs. Mashane. I'm not going to go into much detail. I mean, I even had at one point sort of a friction type of a thing where maybe the mom felt that I wanted to do that. Ne? And I had to explain to the daughter that the way that I love you has to be unconditional. I have to love you the same way I love the other kids, my biological kids. So to me, even this thing of stepdaughter in our house, it does not exist.
They are all daughters.
They are all our daughters. And so I had to be clear to them that in a community, Mrs. Masha, people, they have to work together to bring up a child. And you need to view this in that manner, because to a child, even if the parent is a parent sleeping on the streets, in the pipes, then whatever, but that person will always be a parent. And no matter how much you try and take away that role, you will never be able to do it. And I needed to, ensure them that that's not what I'm trying to do here. Especially when my 2 biological kids came, I think it became even clearer to them that's not the mission here. The mission here is to provide the love, the affection, the care, the security for the kids. It's not for me to take away, from their biological mothers, because even if I try, I would never be able to do that. It's impossible. You can't. A parent is a parent. There are kids that have their parents sleeping on the streets, but those parents are their parents, their moms, their dads, and you will never be able to take that away from them, no matter how you try. So you have to reassure, unfortunately, because it doesn't come naturally for the other parent who's looking at you. You have the husband, you have your own kids, now my child with you. So it's not easy for them. That's why we have to be very observant of those things, and always make sure that you reassure them that that's not what you are trying to do here.
Did you manage to come to a point that you were close friends with those two girls?
Yes, I am. I mean, my daughter's Mrs. Masha. It's amazing. I think I can share
Now you
this
have one or two grandchildren.
Yes, I have two.
I have two.
I have two grandchildren. You know, it's amazing.
Which are not directly your grandchildren,
No,
but for you it's your.
It's my grandchildren. And that's what they know, and that's who we are. They call me grandmother, and I'm very proud of that. I like it. Some people don't want to be called grandma, but I like that. That's who I am. I am a grandmother.
The two became very friends with you.
Yes, the older one. When she grew up, she is not calling her mother. She calls her by her name. It's like,
some
a
families
sister
work like
growing
this.
together. And she calls me mom. And at some point, her mother was complaining with her that you are calling Nkulie, your mom, but you are calling me by my name. Why is that? So we are very close, Mrs. Masha. Those kids, they will protect me.
They
I
are grown-up
know this.
women now.
Yeah, they are. They are very grown up. They will protect me. I know they have my back and I have theirs. We support each other, and they know my love for them is unconditional. Do children make mistakes? Yes, they do. Do children do things sometimes that you are not happy with? Yes, they do, including your own children. They will do that. But that does not mean that you need to now love them less.
Yeah.
Because they are children. They will all, and no matter how old they are, it's like in a company. You are working with people and you are leading people in that company. Some of them are older than you. But the fact that people have a leader that's leading them, it makes them children in a way. The mistakes that they make, sometimes you don't understand. So imagine someone who is a child. It happens in all spheres of life. So you can't love them less because of the mistakes, because of whatever that they do. Love them unconditionally. And when you do that, you build, lasting relationships with them.
And then you had Rachel.
Yes.
And lately,
And
Junior.
Junior. Mm-hmm.
And nothing changed in the family dynamics once you got the two.
No.
How would they relate to the older sisters?
Yes. You see, even there, as parents, you have to facilitate that relationship. Because remember, there's a 7-year gap between Rachel and Whitney. Mm-hmm. The same between Rachel and Junior. So Whitney, in her mind, was the last one. Now, all of a sudden, Rachel comes. And of course, Rachel now is going to come and take the attention, the love and care, the affection and everything that was...
A baby girl.
Of course, that was directed to her now is going to be shared, So you need to be intentional about those relationships as well and teach. We have to teach our children because they're not going to automatically understand those things. So when you do that, you make them understand and they need to see it. You see, children, no matter how much you speak, but they're going to watch your actions. So if my actions were showing her that I am more for Rachel than her, then it would be a problem. But they grew up to, be lovely sisters. I mean, even though Rachel is overseas now and all that, they still get in touch with one another.
Yeah, because I remember they all stayed. They were staying together.
Yes, they
were
did.
Growing up together.
They did. And when I was transporting them to school, it was all of them. So I would take Rachel to school and then we pass in Rose's home. We take her, we go together to school, drop them and then come back. So they've always been having that relationship together.
Talking about motherhood, because of course you started with a very different style than most of the couples.
Yes.
You became a mother without even having children of your own. Then you had your kids.
Yeah.
What are the challenges of being a mother today? And I'm not just going to say Christian mothers, because you experience that at a certain point, not all of them were in the church with you. They had different beliefs and different lifestyles.
Yeah.
What are basically the challenges of motherhood today?
Motherhood has a lot of challenges. And for me personally, I don't think it's a possible thing to do far away from God. It's not, because there's a lot of pressures that our kids are faced with out there. And some of these pressures, we can't even relate to them because we never experienced them. I remember at some point, the older one, she all of a sudden left everything after we had paid the tuition for her university and everything was done. Then she said she doesn't want to continue, with studies anymore. Now, what do? Do you now force her and say, listen, we've paid this, we have done this, you can't, suddenly say you're not going to do that and all of that, So it comes with a lot of challenges. And I've learned a lot through the journey of motherhood, that many a times we want to sort of make decisions for them and say, this is what you're going to do. This is what you have a vision that you want your children to be. And sometimes without even understanding, sometimes we want to live our own dreams through them.
Vicariously.
For example, Rachel at first wanted to study law. And that was exciting for me because that was my husband's dream. But because of finances and everything, he could not do that. So with her, she has an opportunity to do that. So that excited me. But when that changed, I was not so excited anymore, because I wanted that. Now she doesn't want that. She wants something else. And that is the struggle that happens when you have children, because now they are their own persons who have their own dreams, their, own thinking, their own way of doing things. Even though you had taught them, they grew up in your house with your values and principles, they carry that with them. But there are choices that they are going to make that will probably not align with what you want. And that's where it becomes tricky. And you can't choose for them, unfortunately. No matter how much you try, it's not going to help you. And you need to think differently as a mom. How do I help my child to make the most of what she has chosen to do? Or of what he has chosen to do. Because if you're going to try and fight against that decision, no one is going to be happy in that situation. I've learned that with, through experiences that has happened to me. There are things that in my life I thought, I know, no child would do that under my roof, but it has happened. It has happened. I mean, for example, with Rachel, our kids were always with us. If we are traveling for holidays, they go together with us. They don't know what are sleepovers. We don't do those kind of things. You are always here with us. And then when we were coming to the work of God, then Rachel says, Mom, I think I'm going to let you and Dad go with Junior because it's a new thing, for you to, feel how it's happening, how things are going. And then I join you later. So I'll take a year and I'll go to the US and then come back. At that moment, when that was happening, it was okay because I was thinking that, okay, it's going to give us some, learning, some independence because she didn't have, because until that moment, Rachel was having everything done, by us. If I'm going for my nail appointments, I'm going with her, paying for everything.
Let us just clarify here.
Yeah.
They might be wondering.
Yeah.
The oldest one.
Yes.
How old is she now?
She was born in 83. How old is she?
43.
Yes.
43.
Yes, that's
15
where she is.
years older than your wedding time, that your marriage.
Exactly.
43.
Yes.
A mother of two.
Mother of two.
Her name that I keep on...
Tandeka.
Tandeka. Yeah, Tandeka. Then it comes Winnie.
Yes, Whitney.
How old?
Whitney was born in 94.
So she is 32.
Yeah, 93 or 94. She's somewhere there, yes.
Rachel.
Born in 2000. She's now what?
26.
Yes.
And then we have Junior.
Junior 18, yes.
So we're talking about adults.
Adults.
We're not talking about children anymore, a part of your grandchildren.
Yes, yes.
What was easier, to deal with them while they were children or as adults?
I think for me, as children, it was easier. Because as children, you could decide everything. And our household was not a household where you could do whatever you want, you know.
Discipline.
Yes, that's how we grew up. I grew up like that. If you want to do your own thing, then you go and be by yourself and you do what you want to do. So when they were younger, it was easier for me. Like a simple example, coming to church. It was not a negotiable. Mm-hmm. You know, there was no negotiations of I don't think going to church is the right thing for me. And no, there were no such discussions in our house. Everybody goes to church. So it was like that, not even with only our children. If you are a family member and you decide that you want to come and visit us, and you're not going to go and stay in a hotel somewhere, you want to come and stay in our home, it's compulsory. That's how it was. Because in this household, we go to church. There is no way that on a Sunday morning, we're going to leave people sleeping in our house and not going to church. Then we go to church and then we come back to people who didn't experience the same thing that we experienced. There's bound to be a confusion there because, you didn't get the same kind of feeding on that day. So that was the rule in our house. If you come and you stay with us, Sunday we are all going to church. And you're not going to go to your own church. We go to the universal church. So you are free to go and stay in a hotel. And in a hotel, you can go wherever you want to go. And then we meet up somewhere for
very
lunch.
Tough rules.
No. We had tough rules in our
Discipline.
house. Discipline. So it was easy for me as kids because that's how it is. Whether you liked going to church or you didn't like, you had to go. And I don't regret that. I don't regret that because when I see many young girls out there and young children and how lost they are, and they are lost and they don't know that there is hope, that there is something out there that can change their situation. It makes me sad because then as a parent, you failed those kids. You didn't bring them up knowing God, knowing that when life turns against me, I have a place where I can go. So we did that so that our children understand that there is a place to run to when things turn against you, So even if in their adult ages, they decide not to come to church to God anymore, no problem. We're not going to force them, but they know the truth. You
planted the seed.
We planted the seed. That's why I'm saying I thank God for, the life that we've had here. Because I think our children, they are so open-minded. They know what to do. I had conversations with Rachel that my parents would never have the courage to have. But I think those teachings are so important. And sometimes you have to force them because kids are not going to choose those things. Even when we were growing up, when we were told to go to church, we didn't want that. No one wants to go to church, but you have to enforce that to your children because otherwise, how are they going to learn that God, is there for them? Because they're going to need. That's why later on in life, people, they go through so much, they struggle, but they lose the battle. Sometimes they kill themselves because nobody taught them. And it's sad that, sometimes when you speak to these people, they have no clue. They have no understanding that there is a God. And I think as parents, if our children are like that, we're failing them. We are failing them. They need to know about God. So if it's to force them, so be it. That's how it was in our house.
But now they grew up.
Yes.
And now you have the challenge that you have to respect what they want. What were your difficulties? Because of course, I know they didn't do everything you wanted them to do.
Mrs. Masha, it's not easy. It is not easy. I recall with my eldest one, we spoke to her when she decided that she's leaving everything. I mean, we told her exactly how the devil is going to play this out and what the end result is going to be. We told her. And we told her that it will probably end up with children that you have with somebody that you're not married with, and that maybe that person will never get married with you, you know? And it happened like that.
And how to deal with the disappointment, knowing that the love of a mother will never reject.
Oh my gosh. So it was so sad for her because she made a phone call to my husband and she said, you know, Dad, at that moment, I thought it was like, you know, you cursing me that my life would be like this and that, you know. But now that I've matured, now I wish I would have listened, because I would have avoided many painful and hurtful situations that I had to go through. Unfortunately, at some point, you're not going to have control over them. They are going to make their own decisions, but I praise God because she's back. She is now committed in the church. She's in Cape Town. She's stationed in Cape Town. And she is in the church and she's committed. And the kids, the grandkids are now growing up in the church, and that's beautiful. But you are going to have moments where things are going to happen not in the way that you would have liked them to happen. I mean, it has happened with the situation of Rachel as well, because it was not my idea that Rachel would end up in America. It was meant to be something for a year. And that's why when it happened, we were okay with it happening, because
for
we knew,
1 year.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
We still have probably about 4 of her suitcases in our house, because she wasn't going there permanently. She was just going to be there for a year and then come back. And then when she decided at the end of that year that she's going to remain there, oh my goodness, it hit me. No, it did. I wasn't happy about it, but I could not change it at the same time, because it's a decision that she has made. I was very sad.
And she is an adult now.
She is. I was very sad as a mom. I wouldn't lie here and say, I know, I was strong, I was in faith, I was okay with it. No, I wasn't. I wasn't okay with it.
You wish you could tell her, come back, I'm telling you I'm your mother.
Yes, I wish I could do that, but I knew very well that I could not do that. And the only thing that I could do at that moment was to make a prayer for God to help me be okay inside. And I even asked him, now let your will be done in her life. And I gave it to him. It was hard. It was not easy. And I did that. And after that prayer, I was okay. And I trusted in God. And now that she is there, things started to develop. She calls and she says, now she is dating. And I my gosh, all I saw was, you know, movies, American movies that we watch. All I saw was, serial killer killing my child. Honestly, I'm being open here.
This is the profile of a mother.
These are things that we go through. I mean, because you see, the dating process there is not the same as South Africa. No. Dating there happens online. And I mean, that thing for me, I only have a view of it from movies. And all I see there is serial killers, preying on these girls and killing them. And that's the vision that came to my mind. And as a result, from the beginning, I didn't even want to meet that boy. I didn't, because I was saying, no, this is not going to last. This is not going to happen. These are the challenges that we face as mothers. And then again, that's what I'm saying. As a mother, I don't know how mothers who are far away from God, how they do it, because it's a struggle of emotions all the time. And there I asked God again, my God, help me here. And my husband and I, we sat down and we said, baby, no matter if we don't like this situation, but we have to make sure that we protect our child here. And doing that means we need to know this guy. So whether we want to know him or we don't, we have to know this guy. And then we started, we agreed that we would meet this guy.
Online.
They met online, and we're meeting the guy online via video call, not physically. Oh my goodness. But Mrs. Masha, God is great. God is great. In that one call, we spoke, and we questioned.
Yeah.
We questioned and we asked. And poor boy was sitting there and answering and
sweating.
Oh, shame. And he's so humble, ne? And he's so soft-spoken. And he was answering all these questions from me, from my husband, and especially from me. Ne? And I was asking, but I will tell you now, at the end of that call, I fell in love with that young man. And then we made another video call to meet the parents. And then we started to speak with the parents. And it was beautiful because we got to meet people who are aligned with us in terms of the faith, in terms of the family values. We were just so in sync. The way we brought up our children, that's the way that they were brought up.
It's a very good family.
Guess what? Your favorite podcast, the one that makes you think, laugh, and reminds you you are not alone, is expanding its horizon. Conversations with Her is now officially on Spotify. So wherever you are, driving, walking, or just taking a moment for yourself, open Spotify, search Woman to Woman, Conversations with Her, and press play. Because sometimes hearing someone else's story helps you understand yours.
I can only imagine, Nkulie, your joy, because you met the boy, you met the family, but your heart, she should be here with me.
Yeah.
And she's not.
No.
What comes next?
So we met them, and then we spoke. I mean, it was a relationship that we built over many, calls online with them, and we got to trust that family. And then came to a point where they decided now they are going to get married.
Oh. And you are in South Africa.
I am in South Africa. And remember now, I'm no longer in my previous life, where it could have been very easy for us to say, okay, let's pack and let's go to the wedding. Ne? And at that time, there was a bit of a challenge also even to get into the country. It was not going to be easy. But anyway, I was not in a life where I could just pack and go. We could not. And we have now souls that have been assigned to us. And by the way, do you know, she got married the day of the launch of your book, Mrs. Mitch. So in the morning on that day,
remember that.
We went to the launch,
to Soweto?
And then after that we went rushing back home and we prepared ourselves and we watched the wedding over Zoom. So that's how we attended the wedding.
That is not how you planned.
No, not at all, not at all. But again, I'm saying you can't be in this role as a mother far away from God, because there are situations that are going to happen that are outside of your control and you can't change them. But I will tell you, God did something for me on that day. So the mother-in-law was speaking to them, and she was talking to them about, the virtuous
They're
woman.
Christians anyway.
They are Christians, and she was talking to them about, the virtuous woman and all of that. What was amazing is that you would expect that she would hug her son first and then Rachel. But you know what happened? She forgot to even hug the son. She hugged Rachel, and she was so emotional. She was, crying, and all of us, we were full of emotions over the phone. It was a beautiful moment. And when she finished that, embracing her, she was now going back to sit down. And then the son said, "Mom, you forgot about me." And then she had to go back. But that moment was for me. And there, God was saying to me, "Don't worry, my daughter. Look,
You prayed.
your daughter has a family here. I'm taking care of things. She's not alone. She's taken care of." It was beautiful. I was just, in that moment, I was just so happy. I was just, there was no fears anymore in me about Rachel. I was just so content about everything. And God did that for me. And for many people, maybe they missed that moment, but I think God did that for me specifically at that moment. And I was so happy. So she's married now, happily married. The husband loves my daughter. Oh my goodness. The respect that he has for Rachel, they have for each other. Sometimes when we sit, on the video call talking to them, my gosh, it feels as though they were brought up in the same house. Very respectful people, how they address, us as parents, as the elders, how you can tell when they speak to each other, the gestures, that they do to each other when we're watching them over. It's beautiful. I cannot complain at all. It has worked out very well.
Did you realize something? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. That whatever we give to God, whatever we offer to Him, it will not go unnoticed.
Very true.
Look back 28 years ago. You could have rejected those two girls.
Yeah.
You could have set your ground rules.
Yeah.
They are not my children.
Yeah.
They don't have a space here.
Yeah.
But you embraced them as your own.
True.
Now, another mother embraced your daughter as
Oh my goodness,
her
Mrs.
own.
Masha. God works in wonderful ways. He works in wonderful ways. I mean, it's exactly what, and I didn't think of that, by the way. Now that you're talking about it, it's exactly what is happening. I did that with them, and now somebody else is doing that to my child. It's so beautiful.
And you have peace.
I am peaceful. I am peaceful. And I think this is what I think I want to share with mothers.
And that's what I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
What would be, of all the great advices you could give today in this journey of 28 years and many ups and downs, not forgetting that we have Junior, the last born, who just wrote matric. He has to decide about his future. He needs to experience with life and all that. What would be the advice that you would leave to the mothers this weekend for Mother's Day? Mothers who may be struggling, mothers who may be trying to blend in families, mothers who might be having opposition from their kids. What would you tell them?
I think the most important thing is understanding that as human beings, we don't have that capacity. We don't have the capacity to do the things that I did. I know I don't have that capacity because sometimes situations overwhelm you and you don't know what to do. And what I've learned in my journey is to put everything in the hands of God. This prayer that I was saying earlier that I made, where I said, my God, let your will be done. But when you make that prayer, you need to trust in that prayer. You really need to trust, because sometimes as mothers, we make those kind of prayers. But at the end of the day, we go back and say, okay, my God, no, you're taking too long. Give it back to me. I want to try again. And then you try and try and try and try. You fail. Then you want to go back. So once you make that prayer, trust Trust. I promise you, Mrs. Masha, in this whole process, when I've made that prayer, there are things that happened that I was not happy with. I didn't want them to go that way. But the end result, you become so amazed. Then you see God is here. So make that prayer. Trust that He's going to take care of it. And in the will of God, we are happy. That's where we are happy. If you leave it there, He's gonna, He knows things that we can't even see, even things that are still going to happen that we don't know about. I believe my journey, all the things that happened to me, good or bad, they happened for this moment that I am in today. Today, I don't have anything that bothers me, that worries me, that keeps me, awake at night, because those moments happen to women, happen to mothers, They can't sleep because of what is going on with their children. But the truth of the matter, me not sleeping is not going to change that child of mine. It's not going to turn around the situation. But if we put it in the hands of God, He can. And He knows exactly where to touch in that child. And sometimes bad things are going to happen to them for them to learn. They're going to, because if they don't listen to what you're telling them, they are going to experience things. But it's part of the process for them to learn. So we can't, cover them from those situations. But one thing for sure, the soul is protected. And I think as mothers, we need to reach that point. We need to love them enough to know that what's important out of everything else is their soul. And that, because of us, because of our life being on the altar, is intact. The devil cannot touch. Because of us. So you need to trust that. You need to trust that God is in control. If you don't, you're going to be that mother, because sometimes you have all these neck pains and worries and everything. No, because you want to take care of things that you clearly can't take care of them. You can't change another person. No matter how much you try, you can't change them. Those people will change when they want to change. And who better than us who can do that? It's God. God can. He actually is the best, the one that can do it. He's a God. He knows exactly where to touch in that child. And sometimes it means that, okay, let him, go through that situation in order for him to learn. Example, my husband, his mother said to him, my child, when the world turns against you, remember that there is a God. And the world turned against him. He was stabbed he almost died. But in those moments, that's when the words of the mother came back to him. And then he realized, let me go back. So mothers, it's going to happen. We can't avoid it. It's going to happen. But we have to make sure that our lives are 100% on the altar and our children will be protected. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Now, you have Stu Jr.
Yes.
And you know that he will do his own choices.
My God. No, he's already doing. He's already doing. I think I've become soft now, because Junior's age is not an age that can tell me that I want a gap here. I think I've become soft now because the old me, that cannot happen.
Tell me honestly, do you over worry about him?
I do. I think I do, but I don't over worry with Junior. Let me rephrase that. I don't think it's over worry, but I think boys are different than girls.
I think it's because you had 3 girls and 1 boy.
Probably, ne. But I just find that with the girls, if I said something must be done like this, it will be done. I find with the boy, you have to follow up many times for something to be done. For example, I woke up very late thinking that the applications and everything for university, they are done. And only on the last day I realized, no man, this boy didn't do all of this. So I think boys are a bit different. I think girls, I don't think it's respect, but also the fear of you, it makes them act. But I think the boy for me was a bit different, for sure. And I think now that I'm here in the work of God, I think I have also, come down in terms of the level of strictness that I used to have, because at the end of the day, I don't want him to be a sad boy. He is free to choose, because at the end of the day, it's going to be his life. Whatever he chooses to study, he chooses to do, it's going to be his own life. But I think for me, I have that principle at the back of my mind that have a degree, even if it's 1 degree, but have something. And then after that...
But anyway,
yeah,
you are aware you don't have control over that.
No, I don't have. No, and I'm realizing that every day. I do not have control.
A mother is always a mother.
Yeah.
She will try to have control all the days.
No, we
My
try.
final question.
Yes.
Do you think that now they are grown up, they have their own lives,
Yeah.
especially the
3 girls.
The 3 girls.
Yes, yeah.
Is it easy to be a mother?
I don't think it will ever be. It's impossible. You know the journey
love
of a mom.
mothers.
The journey of a mom does not stop. In my mind, I thought once they get out of the house, they are on their own, then that's it. It doesn't. It doesn't stop. I still worry about, not worry in a sense, but I mean, you're still concerned, you're still thinking, you're still wanting them to be okay. I mean, it's my daily prayer for them, that my God protect the marriages for those who are married, open the ways. You are constantly thinking about your children. And I think as a mom, they are never grown-ups. They never get to a point where you see them as grown-ups. And that's why many a times you'll hear us saying, my child. And people are thinking that we are talking about maybe, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old.
10-year-old.
And it's not. It's a 43-year-old, but it's my child, It doesn't stop, Mrs. Mash. I think it will stop when we die. It doesn't stop. They are, you feel responsible, and I'm using the word feel because we shouldn't be responsible for them when they are adults, but that's how it happens for you as a mom. You are always connected to your children somehow, and it will never stop, no matter how old they are.
And this is what we celebrate about Mother's Day. We understand that it is a responsibility, it is a duty, it is a gift from God that has a starting point, but it will never end. So Nkulie gave you her advice, and believe me, it goes perfectly in line with the Bible verse that God has given me for this moment. Shall we go back to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5? Listen to these moms out there and those of you who are planning to become mothers. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. How hard it is to trust God with all your heart, especially the heart of a mother that is taken by love, by worries, the sense of protection, that nature that you want to have them all under your wings and make sure that nothing happens. And of course, you want to guide them based on your understanding. But God says, trust not on your understanding, because his mind, his plans, his knowledge, they are far, far, far beyond ours.
For sure.
When you heard Rachel saying, I'm leaving, it was painful, but she's coming back.
Yes.
When she said, I'm not coming back, it was hard.
Yeah.
Only to find out later that God had already prepared everything for her. And today you live in peace.
Yeah.
Maybe the peace you would not have if she was around.
We never know. It's very true. It's very true, Mrs. Masha. As you said it, trust in him. That's all we need to do.
Acknowledge God in all your ways.
Yeah.
You may be in a situation that you have a child that turned into drugs. He is arrested. He has made very wrong choices. You try to teach your girls and bring them to the Sunday school. They have turned to very challenged and sad pathways which you didn't want, but acknowledge God. Because in the same way that God has taken care and is taking care of Nkulie's children, He wants to do the same for you. Yeah. And that's the reason why I want Nkulie to bless you with the assurance that if you turn to God, God will direct all your paths, including with your children. Shall we pray?
Yes, let us pray. Our Lord and our God, Father, we present right now all the mothers, my Father, who are listening or watching this program, my Father, this moment, and even those, my Lord, that will come to watch it at a later stage. We present them, my Father, and we ask you that you speak to them, my Lord. Use one word, one sentence, one thing, my Father, that we mentioned in this program, my Father, to speak to them, to show them, my Lord, that there is no reason for them to worry, my Lord. There is no reason for them to stress themselves. All they need to do is to trust in you, my Lord Jesus. It is to acknowledge you, my Father, in everything that they do. Sometimes, my Lord, we try to sort out our situations ourselves, and we go and we consult person number 1, person number 2, person number 3, and we forget, my Lord, to start with the one who is the author of our lives, with the one who knows, my God, everything that happens on this earth. Oh Lord Jesus, reach out to the mothers, my Lord, those who are having their children, my Lord, addicted to drugs. It's not a situation, my Father, that is easy. When you watch your child, my Father, destroying their own lives, and they want to come out of that life, but they are so hooked with the drugs and that they don't know how to come out. Oh Father, reach out to them. Help these women, my Father. Teach them that, my Lord, when they trust in you, when they commit their lives on your altar, it is then, my Father, that the situation can change. It is not about them fighting with their children or shouting at them or forcing them to do anything. It is about committing their lives and acknowledging you, my Father, as the God over everything, and that you will come down and you will change the situation for them. We present them, my Father, and we ask you that you bless them, my Father. Bless the mothers, my Lord. Remove the worries, the stresses. Many of them, they are sick, my God, with high blood pressure. They are sick with sugar, diabetes, and many a times it's because of the stress that they are going through. Oh Lord Jesus Christ, give them the hope that they need, my Father, in order for them to survive in this life, because life is not easy. It is so pressurized, and it's becoming pressurized each and every day, and we cannot make it without you, my Father. I present them in your hands, and I ask you, my God, for your protection, for your guidance upon their lives. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. So we come to the end with conversations with her on motherhood. Yes. And you may not have reasons to enjoy Sunday. However, if you understood the message of today, trust in the Lord, and whatever you still don't see, He will make it possible. So we bless you all.
Yes.
On Sunday, in one of our branches for the mothers in South Africa, in Africa, throughout the world. Receive the promise of God. Trust in Him, and He will direct your path.
That's true.
Until next time, God bless you all. Bye-bye.
The first step to healing is simply reaching out. If you or someone you know needs support, email woman-to-woman@uckg.org.za or call 0800 330 320. Our toll-free helpline offers confidential, non-judgmental support.